Well, I think everyone was bracing for these numbers to be weak, and they're even weaker than folks expected. And I do think that you've hit the nail on the head with highlighting, for them to step back from saying we expect to return to growth this year, and to say we'll revisit our guidance in the second quarter. I mean, they're now sort of part of a much broader group of companies that are having trouble getting a handle on the outlook for their business as a result of all the uncertainty under the Trump administration. But I think it's particularly remarkable to see that out of a company that is so synonymous with a person who is so closely tied to that administration and Elon Musk.
Far be it for me to ask you to explain stock price movement, just especially after hours on a day such as today, Craig. But given the fact that there were so many misses across the board for this company, whether we're talking about first quarter adjusted EPS, first quarter revenue coming in shy of estimates, the company leaving out a return to growth forecast, why aren't we seeing the stock react more? Was this all priced in?
I think it speaks to a sort of let's wait and see until what Musk sort of has to pull out of his hat later this evening. You saw a lot of analysts sort of giving their takes on in their previews going into these earnings, talking about what the numbers don't even matter, or even some debating that, where I found it kind of comical that in Morgan Stanley, Adam Jonas's note earlier today, of course the numbers matter, he said, but here are the things that matter more, which is ways that Musk can sort of wave the bright shiny objects to get people to look past these numbers and something to believe in. And oftentimes it tends to be autonomous vehicles for Tesla. Yeah.
Well, is it Optimus?
Yeah.
Is that the bright shiny object? Is it a Robotaxi event in June where they're going to actually start these Robotaxis? What are the bright shiny objects?
Yeah, I mean, I think the robots, I think even Musk is a little bit, conservative in terms of talking about when that's actually going to be ready as a product, for external use. For the time being, it's, an internal project. But I do think that, launching a service in Austin, in June is absolutely something that Musk has sort of laid down as a marker for progress on that front. But I think it's going to be difficult to parse, just how much that sort of puts, Tesla on some pedestal, or are they, in the end, just catching up to a company like, say, Waymo, that has been, deploying in cities, kind of increasingly all over the U.S. and has been at this for years now. Does Tesla actually have a generalized solution for self-driving or not? And that's still going to be an unanswered question, I think, as of June, if I was a betting man.
Just to throw a couple more numbers at you, Craig, deliveries of the Model 3 and Model Y were down 12%. Other models, the bucket that includes the Cybertruck, were down a whopping 24%, far outpacing the decline in production of down 16% for Model 3 and Model Y, and down 18% for other models.
Does that mean the Cybertruck is not selling?
Is that what it means?
The Cybertruck is not living up to expectations in the least. I do think that the Model S and Model X are probably sucking wind even more because they have been around longer. But in terms of the expectations that Musk set for the Cybertruck, he talked about this being maybe a model that would manage, something like on the order of 250,000 units a year. They're not even coming anywhere close to that.